everyone, for today's tutorial you're going to need a 5.5mm hook along with a 4.5mm hook. I'll be using these colors of weight 4 medium acrylic yarn, and I'll be linking these in the description down below. And you will also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to make 12 of these granny squares and we're going to connect them together into a bag. And so I'm going to show you how to make one of these, and my outline color is going to be white, and that's also going to be the color of the strap, so please keep that in mind. And let's get started. We're going to start from the center and go outward from that, so start with whichever color you want to be in the center, and I'm going to start with a tan color. And also take your 5.5mm hook. Now you're going to make a magic circle, and I'll link a video in the description if you're unfamiliar with that. And then you're going to chain 2. You should have a total of 3 chains below your hook. And now you're going to make 2 double crochets into the circle. And you can also pull on the string here to make your circle a little bit tighter and make it more comfortable for you. To double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the circle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Do 1 more double crochet. Chain 2, and you're going to do 3 more. So these 3 double crochets are going to count as a shell, and so you're going to chain 2, you're going to do 3 more double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Now chain 2. Now you're going to look for the first double crochet that you made, and you're going to insert your hook into that stitch and make a slip stitch by yarning over, pulling through the stitch, and also through the loop on your hook. Now you can pull on this tail here to tighten your magic circle. And that's pretty much the first row. So you'll probably notice that we have these 4 corners here, and in our next row we're going to crochet into these corners. And also these 3 double crochets is what we're going to call a shell, so we'll keep that in mind as we go on. And so now you can chain 1 and fasten off. So now it's time to do our second color, and I'm going to be using green. So insert your hook into whichever corner you would like. Take your second yarn and you're going to pull it through that corner by putting it on your hook and pulling it through like this, and just basically pull it through, and you're going to make a knot. And you can disregard these tails, we're going to weave them in at the end. Now insert your hook into that same corner and pull that string through the corner with your hook. Now chain 3. This counts as a double crochet. Now do 2 double crochets into that corner. Now you're going to chain 2 and do 3 double crochets into that same corner. So what we just did here, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, is what we're going to repeat for the remaining shells. So again, you're just going to go straight into the next corner and do 3 double crochets. You're going to chain 2, and then do 3 more double crochets. Now repeat for the 2 remaining shells. So once you are done your last corner, you're just going to slip stitch into the first double crochet that you made in this row. And now you're ready to fasten off. Now take your third color, and just like we did before, you're going to pull it through a corner and make a knot. Now insert your hook in that corner and pull through the string. You're going to chain 3, do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then do 3 double crochets. As you notice, unlike the previous row, we have an extra hole here, and in this hole we're just going to do 3 double crochets. Now we're at another corner here, which means we gotta do the 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Now continue what we just did for the rest of the row, and as a reminder, a shell is 3 double crochets. So in the middle you're just going to do 1 shell, and then in the corner you're going to do shell, chain 2, shell, and I'll meet you once you reach the end. At the end you're going to slip stitch into your first stitch, and then fasten off. Now we're ready to do our last row. So take whichever yarn you're going to use and attach it to your corner. Pull your yarn through the corner, chain 3, do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and do 3 double crochets in that same corner. And this time we have 2 holes in the middle, but it's the same thing. We're just going to do 3 double crochets in each hole in the middle. Once we get to a corner, you probably know the drill. You're going to do 3 double crochets, which is a shell, chain 2, and then another shell. Now repeat what we just did for the remainder of your row until we reach the beginning. So once you're at this point, you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch, and then chain 1 and fasten off. So now we've completed a granny square. So the next step is to basically repeat what we just did 11 more times so that you have a total of 12 granny squares. And what I did is I made 3 different color variations and I made 4 of each so that I have a total of 12. Now we're going to attach 6 granny squares together for the front and the back pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of each from my pile and put the others aside. And you're basically going to attach them together in a rectangle. So once you're happy with your layout, you're going to basically flip all your granny squares upside down so that the wrong sides are facing up. Now you're going to need your 4.5mm hook along with the yarn you used for your last row. For me, I'll be using white. So we're going to stitch along the outer edges of our granny squares to attach them together like this, and I'm basically going to attach them this way first and then like this. So you're going to take your 2 squares on the right and you're going to sandwich the right sides together, and you're going to insert your hook into a corner, and then also in the corner of the other square like this, and line them up. And you're going to take your yarn, pull it through the two corners like this, and you're going to make a knot to attach the yarn to your work. Now insert your hook into the corner and pull the yarn through the corners, and you're going to slip stitch to connect the two squares together. And what I mean by this is you're going to insert your hook into the first stitch, and if you line them up like this, insert your hook into the first stitch of that corner, and then find that same stitch on the back, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through both stitches, and also the loop on your hook. Again, for the next stitch, you're going to insert your hook, find that same stitch in the back granny square, yarn over, pull through both stitches and the loop on your hook. Now you're going to continue throughout the granny squares to connect the pieces together. Your last slip stitch should be into the two corners here. And as you can see, we've connected the two squares together. In order to connect the next two stitches together, you're going to sandwich the right sides together and line them up. And then insert your hook into the top right corner of the two granny squares, and you're going to slip stitch to connect the two pieces together. And now you can repeat what we just did for this square. So look for your first stitch, insert your hook into that stitch, and also into the stitch in the back granny square, and then slip stitch. And continue throughout the rest of the square. And last but not least, you're going to do the same thing for the last two granny squares. Once you get to the last corner, you're going to chain one and fasten off. So now that we have finished stitching horizontally, we have to do the two vertical sides here, and you're basically going to repeat exactly what we just did by sandwiching the right sides together, and then you're going to start on this top right corner. You're going to attach your yarn to the corner, slip stitch all across, fasten off, and do the same for the other side, and I'll meet you once we're done. So my clip got deleted, but you're going to basically repeat the same thing for the remaining 6 granny squares so that you have 2 panels that look like this. So once you have your 2 panels stitched together, you're going to flip one panel so that the right sides are facing together and the wrong sides are out. And don't worry about all these tails because we're going to weave them in at the end. What we're going to do is we're going to attach the sides and the bottom here to make the base of our bag. Go to the top left corner here, take your 4.5mm hook, insert it into the 2 corners, take your yarn and you're going to attach it to the corner, insert your hook into the 2 corners and yarn over, pull through a loop. And you're going to basically slip stitch, which is what we did to attach these squares together, and you're going to do that along this whole edge and stop until you reach the opposite corner. So again, you're just going to insert your hook into the next stitch for both squares and just slip stitch like this for every stitch until you reach that point. Once you finish, you can go ahead and fasten off. Now flip your work inside out. So this is what your work should look like. Now we're going to finish off with 1 row of double crochet along the top and then with our strap. So you're going to find the top corner here and you're going to insert your 4.5mm hook into that corner. take your yarn and you're going to pull it through that corner and attach it. Now insert your hook into that corner, yarn over, pull through, and you're going to chain 3. And then into that corner, you're going to double crochet. Now into every stitch along this top row here, you're going to double crochet, and I'll meet you once you reach the beginning again. So once you reach this point here, you're going to slip stitch into your first stitch. And we're actually going to start our strap from this point so you don't have to fasten off. So for your strap, you're basically going to make a bunch of chains, and you're going to chain until you reach the length of the strap that you want. And I'll put how many I decide to do on the screen right here. Now I'll get back to you once I reach my desired length. So you're going to run your fingers along the chain to make sure that it's not twisted. And once you have confirmed, you're going to look for the opposite end of your bag. I'm just going to put my finger just on this edge here. I'm going to find that end. And you're going to go 1 stitch to the left of that middle stitch there. And then you're going to slip stitch. That connects the strap there. And now we're going to slip stitch into the stitch to the right of where we just connected our chain, and just flip your hook like this to make it easier to insert your hook into that stitch, and then slip stitch. Now you're going to turn your work this way, and you're going to look for that first chain, and mine's right here, and you're going to half double crochet by yarning over, inserting your hook into that chain, yarning over, pulling through that chain, and yarning over, pulling through all 3 loops on your hook. You're going to repeat this process of half double crochets until you reach the end of your chain, or until you reach this point here. Once you reach this point here, you're going to slip stitch into the chain right to the left of your work. And we're going to do 1 more row of half double crochet for our strap. So you're going to slip stitch into another stitch like this. You're going to turn your work. You're going to half double crochet all along your strap, just like we've done for our previous row. Once you have finished, you're going to again slip stitch into your work, and you can of course do another row if you want your strap to be thicker, but I'm just going to stop here and fasten off. And the final step is to take your darning needle and weave all of these loose ends to the inside of your work, and I know it may seem time consuming, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and most importantly, have an amazing day.